Good morning, traders, and welcome to My Funded Futures. My name is Adona, and I am your hostess. This show is created not to only entertain and engage you, but to also make you a better trader. I myself am not an expert trader, but I will be the voice for the chat, and we welcome all of your questions. We'll be talking ideas, we'll be talking setups, and whatever it takes to make you a better trader. So I have some news for you guys today. Um, Luke is not going to be joining us today. He is in recovery because of all the comments in the chat yesterday. So he's taking a day off. Just kidding. He'll be with us tomorrow. But just a friendly reminder to always be kind. A little segment of today's show is going to be we'll welcome our expert traders. We'll talk about ES and Q, and we'll also have some educational lessons of the day. And at 10 a.m., we'll have a very, very special guest that we're so excited to have on the show. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the US market, and the S&P 500 posted a modest gain, closing higher for the fifth straight session as traders look ahead to a critical week for big tech earnings. Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, and Apple are all reporting this week, and their results could drive the market's major next move. Meanwhile, we're seeing mixed economic signals. Consumer confidence data came in softer than expected, and job market indicators suggest a slowdown. Add to that the ongoing uncertainty from new tariffs, and traders are staying nimble. The big story, while momentum is building, there's a real concern about a potential recession on the horizon, especially with GDP growth projected near zero. So, traders, stay sharp. This market may reward precision more than bold bets. And with that, let's welcome in our expert traders, Bull Barbie and Forrest, and see what they have to say. Hi, good morning.
Morning, what's up?
What's up? How are we doing today?
We're ready for it.
Good.
Awesome. Well, okay. Talk to us about what are you seeing today on today's market, Bull Barbie?
So on the S&P, I'm of course watching the ES, and well, one of my levels got turned on, but not the rest of them. We're still kind of in that consolidation that we've been watching, which is not a huge surprise. We don't have any major catalysts yet. They're still coming this week. We had a little bit of data this morning that was on that was some orange folder housing data. The big data today is JOLTS, and it's after the bell, unfortunately, which kind of slows down my morning trading a little bit. But on the S&P, we're still kind of watching this level down here, but we've had a lot more kind of pop up. So I'm going to show you exactly what I'm watching. We're still really waiting for the week to develop. So what I've noticed is we have this high from really pre-market. This wasn't even in the regular session, but we have this pre-market high out here. It's 55.8475. So in my mind, I'm really just remembering 55.85. And then we have this low down here from 54.92. And that's our weekly range so far. So breaking outside of that, we could potentially see some breakouts outside of there, but until there's a reason to, we might just kind of hang around, because again, we've got all of these little areas where there's likely to be resting orders that we have to chew through. So I'm just kind of waiting to see how the week develops. You can see we also have some trend lines. I pulled these from higher time frames. So a lot of the times when we have these daily and even weekly trend lines, the price will just kind of magnet to them, and will kind of get stuck around them until this price level is really kind of satisfied. And I bet when Forrest is looking at the volume profile, it'll kind of show something similar, where we're creating these huge areas where we've just had a lot of heat, or a lot of hits, and a lot of orders being placed. So this could be hedge funds balancing their positions out and things. This is obviously a place that can get that done ahead of anything else that we have coming. So we still have a lot of big earnings this week. I think that's a lot of what the market's also waiting on. So while we're waiting, I really just watch for us to continue consolidation patterns. And we do have where we're, very slightly kind of creating this upwards channel on the hourly. So we are doing that, and we're towards the bottom of it right now. It could be that we hit this low from the pre-market at the very beginning of the week, around 55.16, and kind of range there. If we get below that level, I think we're definitely going to retest the 5,500 level on the ES futures. And then back above this one level, we just keep hitting the 55.46, kind of up to 55.50. This area, we seem to hit it every single day. So that's another area that's really likely to retest. And if we start moving into this gap, I mark my gaps in yellow. So this is a gap on a daily. We can zoom out and look at that if y'all want to, but it is from the April 2nd to the 3rd. So that's at the very beginning of the month. We had a gap up here. So I'm still watching that level. And we've managed to get into the gap, but we haven't really filled it. And so I gave y'all some levels yesterday that are my bullish targets. And we're still working our way through those, because the first one's going to be that 55, what is this? 55.78.75 is this high up here. And then we have the 55.85 that I just told you about. And then it's just getting this gap filled. We have the gap mid up here at 56.31. And then we can keep going all the way to the top of the gap is a little bit above 5,700. So in order to get a powerful enough move to get through up to all of those targets, we would need a really good catalyst, like through some earnings or something like that. And then otherwise, we're likely to just kind of hang around all of these levels where we've been. So we can kind of look for the bottom of that range to buy and the top of that range to sell. But otherwise, we're kind of in a holding pattern for bigger plays, at least for me right now.
That makes sense. Thank you, Barbie. Yeah, very nice. Forrest, will you talk to us about NQ?
Nope. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, guys. I will. So yeah, very, very, very similar. I actually do want to just take a peek at ES real quick, just so I can get my bearings. I know we usually bounce back and forth. I watch both, obviously. So yeah, let's go back to NQ then. So what was interesting about yesterday, so starting on the weekly, yeah, we're still ranging between these two nodes. We are doing higher highs. If you look at this weekly chart, so we have a high. I guess I'll use the tools here. We have this high, a higher high. There's a low, a higher low. And so this bar, we need to see, so far we haven't done a higher high, right? We actually have have we done a higher high? Yeah, we did crack that high. Yeah, so we have a higher high. So let's see if we do a higher low this week. Very unlikely for us, in my opinion, to crack this low. So yeah, we'll continue our higher highs and higher lows. Yesterday, we go to the daily next. We had this really, really small bar. Okay, so again, the VIX has been dropping overall. We're still in an elevated VIX environment, though. Don't get it twisted. But it has been dropping, so we have smaller days. Still pretty good overall in terms of this EV that can be captured in any session. We have this large bottom wick likely to get retested. It's already getting retested here in the morning. And yeah, there's this node above us on the weekly. So because there's this huge kind of node that we're in on the weekly time frame, right? If I can label this is it possible I text this here? Weekly node. Well, that's not really useful in purple. Let's make it this color, make it a little bit larger. So this is this weekly node that we're kind of shoving into, right? And a node is people, right? That's liquidity, but it's also people who are, going to protect their positions. We might come down and retest, some of this previous bar, right? Just like we did you know, for this up bar here, we retested it. We have another up candle, and we might just retest down into this liquidity here. So today, very similar. We have jolts at 10. I do want to make sure we're aware of that. So we'll have our typical 2-hour and 4-hour closing at 10 a.m. here, but we'll have data at 10. My plan on days like today is to do nothing until the data, and I'll probably, I won't trade at 10 either. I'll just wait. I might not take a trade until 2 today. Typically, and I know I'm rambling, but I think this is important. If you miss a strong move in the morning on any given day, there's almost always another move, right? So if you have one strong wave early in the session, there's probably going to be another move. And so you don't need to feel like you need to jump in immediately. You can just wait for the setup for the second leg. Like just go and look at the charts for yourself, use the replay tool. You'll see that's the case. So if you feel like you miss out, say jolts, there's a huge candle at 10 and you're like, man, why did I not see that? I missed it. Just relax and literally just go get some food, make some coffee. And in a few hours, there will be the next wave, right? The next leg. So just keep that in mind whenever you're trading. Now, if you're set up for the move and you see the trade, take the trade. Personally, I won't be doing anything here. Also, there's this obvious little trend line here. We'll see if we retest and respect this. And then the last really important thing, let's let our session volume profile load in here. See if it'll load. Trading View is doing its best. Come on. Just looking at how these sessions are stacked. So we have, in terms of the points of control where we're building liquidity. So liquidity was built here, then they built it higher, then they built it higher, then they built it higher. So we are pushing into this major shelf, right? And the points of control, the prices for every auction where most people are participating is pushing higher. And so intra-session, whenever the POC moves higher, we think of that as bullish. And across sessions as well, you can also think of this as bullish, right? We are stacking, we're literally stacking liquidity higher and higher and higher throughout these sessions, even though it's getting rangy here. So that's just something to keep in mind. If this fails, it's going to fail really hard just because of that.
Tips and tricks. Thank you, Forrest.
Sure.
I actually have a question for both of you, but before that, I wanted to just tell the chat that if we hit 700 viewers, we'll probably do something for you guys to show our appreciation for sure. All right, the question is, do you look at divergences between ES and NQ?
I do. So yesterday was a good example of that, right? We can, this is actually I mean, we're just talking about it. I have SPY open. I was trading SPY options yesterday. Made a nice little bag on that. Let's go ES on the left, NQ on the right. So for all of you who haven't used the replay tool, please check it out. But let's just go to the 1 hour on both charts. And we've still got 15 minutes. So we'll go to replay at the open here. Now, Barbie and I on stream yesterday mentioned the very obvious divergence across both of these. Okay. So every bar on the replay right now is going to be 15 minutes. And we can see how there was a little bit of a, oh, I have to change my settings so it replays all of them. If you did do this how I wanted it to play out, which is replaying on both charts, you would notice that there was, in fact, a divergence in the price action and in the, we'll just X out of that. There was a divergence in the price action and where volume was being built yesterday, right? So we can kind of see the little bit of a difference. The sweeps of the prior days happened at different times, right, on NQ and ES. So that's important, right? One market went and swept the last man, what I call the last man, the previous high, the last person that could have possibly been trapped, but that hadn't happened in the other auction yet. And so once those events both happen, that's when we got the down move. So we got the nice 1 hour signal candle to short, right? It was a great short opportunity. Also, the shape of the volume profile on ES, I mentioned yesterday, the lack of a kind of a normal distribution there. It needed to fill itself in, so it did. It traversed that, and we had that nice ranging price action. So those divergences can give you a trade when you know that these markets will sync up. But at the same time, it can also be cautionary, where if you see a signal, at least for me, if I see a signal on NQ and ES looks messy or vice versa, I know that there's going to be something funky happening. Like the trade isn't going to immediately work out. It might work out, but it's not going to immediately work out because the other auction needs to catch up. So that's just something to keep in mind. These things are very, very tight at the hip. And so when they're not, you need to wait for them to be tight at the hip again.
I have the same viewpoint when I'm trading them as well. I always, if they're in sync, that's when I'm going to actually take a full size and everything like that. And I like to watch when they're both hitting levels at the same time. On the very basic level, I just watch to make sure that they kind of have the same shape. And it's really easy to see on this kind of chart. But then I'll also zoom out to the hourlies and things so I can get a view of, I'll see if they both go. They're not going to both go at the same time for me. But then I can get an idea of, are they both trending in the same direction and that sort of thing. So someone had actually just asked in the chat, like, how do you know when it's a good time to trade and when it's not? One of the times it's not a good time to trade is when when the Nasdaq and the ES, they're very close sisters. They're like fraternal sisters. I always call this chart over here where I have this one here. One of these is my is this one. Here we go. So these are the sisters, right? And so these ones are like fraternal sisters. They're always going to be the closest. So between the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, the Dow, the Russell, the sisters in the pretty colors up here should all kind of be in agreement about what they're going to do today. And when they're not, then I know that that's not a good time to take a trade. So that is one of the clues that I use. And if you'll see it open a lot of times, ES will make one major move down and NASDAQ will make a big pump up or vice versa. And that's a good clue to just wait for things to settle. That means that the market's not ready for me to put risk into it yet. The divergence is really important. But on the same time, we talk about this a lot. I'm always watching for VIX to do the opposite thing. And I know Forrest watches it on the higher time frame charts. I watch it intraday too to kind of make sure that it's making the opposite shape of the indexes.
Awesome. Wow, you guys, I did not expect to get to that many views so quickly. So we already talked to the team and we're just waiting on the codes, but yes, you will have some resets coming shortly and soon. So stay patient and stay with us. We're working on it. Awesome. Well, I did see some questions from the chat that I wanted to ask you guys.
Need to increase the size of chat. My old man eyes are not.
Yeah, it moves.
Doing it this morning.
It moves so quickly, and I'm like, wait, I saw a really good one.
What's your biggest weakness in your trading right now?
Yes,
That's a good one.
Was it. How did you know?
It was the only good one. The rest of y'all got to step your question game up. For me, I'm just very busy, right? So I'm a partner in this business. So the move Miami. There's a ton of traders here, by the way. I went out to dinner with like 20 or so traders. I don't know if I can say the show or not. I'll let them be, but check out my stories and you can see who's been here in the studio. So we're a large production company down here in Miami. I've been very, very busy with that. So for me, I'm just adjusting my style to kind of my current, set of life choices. I love doing this business. I'm not just a trader. Like I'll trade forever, but by no means do I just want to be a trader. I think some people are like, I only trade. I won't do anything else. I consider myself an entrepreneur. I like doing business. I like creating things. I'm a dancer. I'm a b-boy as well. So I try to push myself, in every one of my attributes. But yeah, I also only got 24 hours in a day. So I just, I'm peeling back less and less. My aspiration actually would just be to like trade, 3 times a month, eventually, and make more money than I've ever made though. Right. Which is entirely possible, right? The amount of money you make as a trader is a factor of leverage and obviously execution more than anything else. But yeah, it's just like, I love the charts. I love trading, but it's like, I can't be busy all day and then just glance at the charts and take a trade. even if I want to. So that's my current battle. But it's going well. It's going well overall.
That is always kind of a struggle. I tend to keep busy too. That's why I always set alerts, and I'm always kind of watching areas and I try to wait for the market to come to me and get my trades on real quick. I think that's a struggle that we all deal with. I think as new traders, we look like, oh, it must be easy for all these traders because they can just trade and make all this money. But a lot of us came into trading so that we can do other things as well.
Yeah.
Forrest, do you feel like if you pull away from the market for like that period of time, like you'll kind of lose the grit, or do you feel like you'll still be in the known and then you'll just make better moves?
I don't look at anything. So like prior to this live stream and me buying this business, I traded in my own lane for years, guys. Like I've met a lot of traders recently, and like I like legitimately don't know who they are. So it's fun for me to like meet people. But my system is very, very simple. Like if you are in my community, like we have like two setups that would work all the time. And like the reason I only have 2 indicators on my chart is because that's all I use. So I could probably not trade for 3 years and come back and just like I would look for the same things, because I fundamentally believe that humans are bees and the markets are just an observation of like mass decision making, right? We all feel pain in the same way. We all get excited and experience greed in the same way, right? So
it's important to not stare at charts all day too. You trade better when you're not so focused on the charts where it's affecting your mood and your emotions and everything. It's good to have breaks from the charts.
100%. And yeah, it's like if you have edge in a system that you can actually write out. Now, if your system can't be described and broken down into like yes or no questions, and you're trading intuitively, maybe that's fine, but it's gonna struggle for people like that to step away and come back, because they need that intuition. And intuition is a part of every trader. Like having chart time is like a requirement. Like I'll say that. So yeah, I would be a little
that's
rusty.
Getting your reps then.
Yeah, but like I have a system that's
when I come back fresh after not seeing charts, I trade really well usually.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you have no bias. You have no expectation for yourself. You're not revenge trading.
And I'll get kind of levels stuck in my head, that especially when we're doing right now, where we're just kind of flattish for several days in a row, where it's like, oh, it's that level again. And when you're away for a period of time, whether it's a week or 2 or whatever it is, you're usually coming back to fresh levels, and so everything's kind of fresh.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that fresh perspective. Okay, well, I wanted to add a question to the chat. We'll add the poll on the chat and let us know if you're feeling bullish or bearish today, or if you aren't sure, you have no bias. And how are you guys feeling about the market today? More bullish or bearish?
We're in a spot right now where you could ask that and you could have somebody say bullish and somebody say bearish, and they could both be right, because we're chopping. So if you look in a really short term, maybe we're going to be bullish off of this kind of trend line that's forming here. But once we get up here, we could be bearish again. And this is an hourly chart. So inside of this hourly chart, we can find little bullish and bearish opportunities too. So but right now we're really kind of in a holding pattern. We've got the 10 o'clock news coming. We have big earnings coming this week. So the market's not going to stay here. But knowing, you always have to take into context everything that's going on and the activity. We have planned activity. The market knows activity is coming later this week. And so that ends up causing chop usually ahead of that. So that's where we are.
Yeah, we're at a major inflection point. Like I'll go back to the weekly, and I know I'm a broken record with this, but it's how I do it. We are right. This node here, right? We just traversed this, and above us is low value, right? Which means low value means, again, we're counting people. Okay, aren't too many people here who can hold the price together. So it's going to slingshot through this low value area up to this next high on the weekly, 20,551, we'll call it. If that doesn't happen, again, we have this like kind of flag or consolidation that's happening on the lower time frames. If that fails, right, and this is just for all flags, bull flags, bear flags, if your flag fails, it's going to fail pretty hard, right, in the opposite direction. Okay, so I just put my downside price target 18,593.75 if this fails, and that's, I mean, the market will probably go there. Upside though, it's going to be 20,533. Those are really the two options for me on the weekly. Intraday, or I should say inside of this week, I don't know. Like, I don't know what's going to happen today. We'll see if 10 a.m. is either going to show its hand that today's going to be a mover or not, is really what it comes down to. So we have to wait for 10 a.m. to show its hand. And then, yeah, we might have a really strong day.
I'm really
or
just,
we could have
I'm looking more for scalps today, I think, than anything else. So unless we start really breaking out into something interesting.
Yeah. And yesterday was a range day, but like I had a ridiculously good day yesterday. I played futures and options. I took a short, went and bought puts, so then I went long and bought calls, and it was easy. You know, got both sides of the V. Not always that good, just disclaimer, but yeah, it was a good one. So these days can be traded, and you can make good money on them, even when they're rangy.
Yeah. That's the way I look at it too, is I'm just looking for that range, and I don't want to trade in the middle of it. I want to wait for either a trend line or a horizontal level that's strong that I can use as an entry and have a stop that's not in the middle of nowhere. I want it to be outside of that range and outside of that level.
Yeah.
Barbie, I think this is a good time for you to take us on your most interesting chart of the day.
Sure. Well, I still have Starbucks up from yesterday. This one's still kind of on watch. The other one I wanted to kind of show you real quick before we get onto today's chart of the day is this is the one I'd brought up to y'all last week about their earnings, and they have had a major kind of rally off of their earnings this morning. There's one other one. There was so much going on this morning. This is another one, and this one had news this morning. So this is a news play. If you're familiar with HIMS at all, they have the mail order pharmaceuticals, and they had a partnership deal today. So this one pre-market is up from the highs were 30, and the new high is up at 42. So I wanted to put those ones on your radar. But again, the things that I'm really, really watching for. So what I've picked for chart of the week is Meta, because this one is coming up later in the week. I've got the chart here. So here's the chart of all the big earnings. Meta is one of the biggest ones that I'm watching this week. So it's the first of kind of the biggest three that I'm watching. And so that one's tomorrow after hours. And a lot of the times we'll have that, we'll kind of have a nice little pre-market either rally or dump as everyone's kind of getting into those positions. So that's what I'm watching on Meta right now. I'm going to show you this chart. The expected move on Meta is about 10%. But what I wanted to show you where that takes it, we've got, there's been a lot of massive moves on Meta. And right now we're kind of sitting around 550. And so that 10% move can really, if we get that on the earnings, can really take us it would take us below 500 technically, but I'm kind of watching for some support to be around that 500 level. If it dumps, or if they have good earnings, that would probably take us up to around that 600 level. So we're sitting right in the middle of that. So I think that the options gamblers are going to like me this week, because a lot of these are kind of set up this way where it's really kind of a gamble. And if you have a bet on which way this company is going to go in the options market, you can define your risk as basically 100% of that contract. Because if you're wrong, you're going to be way wrong. But if you're right, you're going to be way right. But so if you're thinking about Meta, you want to think they're really their revenue is really ad driven. So you want to think about has their advertising been good for the first quarter? They have a lot of AI investment. So what's the outlook on their AI? That's going to be a big one for their guidance. And then of course, everyone's also going to be thinking about how the economy would affect them. So that would come back to their ad revenue and that sort of thing. So chart of the day is officially Meta, even though I threw some other interesting things to look at today, like HIMS and SoFi, and of course, Starbucks is still on there as well. And then of course we have some more. You'll probably see some of these later this week too. Chat, what else are y'all looking at while we're getting organized here? I want to hear what
Sorry,
else.
some
What other charts.
technical difficulties. The
Yeah.
chart is ready for some resets or something. I think they're ready, and we're working on it, guys. I promise we will have something for you soon. In the meantime, Forrest, can you talk to us about your most interesting chart of the day?
Most interesting chart of the day. I can. It's ES and NQ. No, it's the same for me. What I can do instead is I can review the trade I took yesterday, kind of, you know, what I saw, if that's better for folks. I think that's better for folks. Let's do that. I want to do that. So let's talk about it. This will be a fun one. And it's honestly really simple. So I mentioned this just a little bit earlier, but in my trading system, there's 4 key levels that we care about, okay, which are prior day high, prior day low, overnight high, and overnight low. So let's mark those out. So prior day low, prior day high, okay, overnight low, and the overnight high was right here. So we have these little levels. We'll add the session volume profile. And there's a few signal candles that we look for. So at the edges, at these 4 levels is where we look to execute. Anything inside of this is just going to be suboptimal, right? Let's just keep that in mind. But these edges are where the absolute last person is trapped. So we want signal candles at these market edges that align with the volume profile. Forrest, what's a signal candle? A signal candle is a high volume shooting star, hammer candle, or a doji candle. Okay, so we're going to see a good example of that form here really shortly. So we'll sweep this price here, prior day high, on the 1 hour. Okay, so we get a high volume. It's the opening 1 hour candle. Sweep of the prior day high, which signals that we're going to move to the other side of the auction. Okay, so the next key level here, there's overnight lows, but then there's also prior day lows down here. So technically, you know, if you want to be conservative, you could just go for overnight low. But just because of the VP and where we're positioned, I went for a little bit more juice. So you could just go short. Let's use our replay tool here. So if you want to be conservative, we could put our TP at overnight low, okay, and we could put our stop loss just at, you know, probably like 90% of that wick, okay. So we'll let this play out, and you can see that it hit, and we actually went to that VAL. So I use the volume profile to kind of line up exactly where I expect the wicks to go. As soon as we start bottom wicking inside of these prior day lows, that's where we anticipate it to go higher. Another thing that's really important, and why I eventually flipped and went back to the top side, is it's very, 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 very unlikely that you will sweep prior day highs. Okay, these are prior day highs and prior day lows inside of a session. It's extremely low. Okay, so since we swept prior day highs, you have to ask yourself, unless we're going to have a really strong down day, what are the odds that we sweep this price? We start bottom wicking here. So it's like, okay, it's time for me to go long. It doesn't even really matter, right? As soon as you start seeing this, you go long. Your TP is going to be the point of control. In this case, I went long and I bought calls, go to a little bit of drawdown, and you can see that it goes back up. So those are really the setups from yesterday. High volume top wick after sweeping an edge, knowing that both sides of prior day high and prior day low are unlikely to both get hit, especially when we're in an uptrend. Just, you know, makes logical sense, and you can catch both sides of the V like that. So just wanted to mention that. Also, we have like a D-shaped-ish kind of volume profile, right? The market's always going to seek out liquidity. It very, very rarely just, you know, runs in one direction, right? Everybody knows that. Like, every day isn't a trend day. Most days are rangy, right? It'll move and then it'll come back. It'll move and it'll come back. Or it doesn't just move and then move and then move and then move, right? That's very, very rare. So that's yesterday in a nutshell. You're welcome.
Awesome. Thank you, Forrest. I really hope these people are paying attention, because yeah, some great tips. I mean, as much as we want to help you guys with free resets and accounts, we also want to give you valuable information. So just stay tuned and listen. But with all that to say, we do have something for you guys. So get ready. We have 100 free reset codes. I will give you guys a few minutes. Okay, well, the code is out, so it's going to be MFTV 100. Go ahead and grab it. I feel like the chat is probably finally happy and calm a little bit right now.
Our chat calm? What?
I know. I like try to pay I'm trying to pay attention so hard, but then I just see it
There, I
moving
see some
and
got
moving.
it. We got Twister got it.
Yay!
Cookie got it.
Okay, amazing. Amazing. Also, I did see that we have one of our supporters. It's their birthday today, so I just wanted to wish them a happy birthday and thank you for being here with us.
Let's go.
And let's go. Happy birthday. And you guys, do you guys mind sharing your Instagram handles or just your social media
Yeah,
handles
so
with
I saw
everyone?
someone was asking me about my scalping strategy, and it's not like there's just one. So I have a few different kind of plays in my playbook that I look for, and I do have those on my channel here. It's Bull Barbie Trading. I should be the only Bull Barbie around here too. So if you look up Bull Barbie, so that's on YouTube, Bull Barbie Trading, and then I'm also on Instagram if you want to just kind of see more personal life stuff. That's bull.barbie. So I know Forrest is everywhere too.
I'm everywhere. I'm in your freaking dreams. No, I'm not. I'm like a horror film.
Sliding into those dreams.
If you're dreaming about me, please stop. Okay, that's weird.
I dream about you.
I am
Yeah, we
on.
all
Good things
dream about
only.
you.
I hope so. I am on YouTube. Obviously, we're all here trading with Forrest. Okay, I trade the volume profile. If you want to learn more about the volume profile, we have a Discord. Where my partner in crime, his name is Soul. He's not here. A good buddy of mine. Got to shout him out. Give credit where it's due. Credit is free to give, guys. You should always give it, by the way. So shout out to Soul. You could join our Discord. He's actually live streaming in there right now. I'm on Instagram, Forrest_the_investor. I invest in stuff, and I think that you should too. And those are the main places. But yeah, we teach trading. I have a course I worked on all of last year. It's like 50 or so videos if you want to check that out too. So yeah, subscribe to both of our channels. Appreciate y'all. That's all I got. That's my spiel.
There's more game there. There's game here. We got game there. We can keep you busy all day.
Yes. Okay, well, I did get a really good question from the chat. And one was for you, Barbie. And it said, Barbie, please explain your scalping.
Oh, that's what I was saying. So they were asking for my scalping strategy, and that's why I wanted to clarify. It's not like I just have like a quick elevator pitch scalping strategy, because I kind of have a playbook that I pull from. So a lot of times, because we're here during the opening range, that's one trade that I'm kind of looking for, but there's different nuances to that. So it's not really a quick answer to that question. But one of the things that I'll do is I'll watch, this is a 5-minute chart. So I'm watching the first 3 candles form. And then those levels I'll treat as breakout levels or rejection levels, depending on how price action reacts to them. But in general, all of my scalping strategies are based on price coming to a level and the price action that happens when we get there. So if you go to my channel, I'm working on building kind of a playbook series too, where I'm stepping through all of my different strategies. I've gone over the breakout strategies a lot, but I do have reversal strategies as well. So that's what I have coming.
Nice.
Awesome. Yes. All right. Well, I guess we can, Forrest, if you have anything to add, you're more than welcome to. If not, we can go
I can talk.
That's why they brought us here. We're good at that.
Actually,
what are you asking here?
Maybe let's spin the wheels a little bit and maybe talk about like some sort of inspirational things for our viewers today. Well, we have 5 minutes to.
Ooh, inspiration. Well, look, to all of you listening in right here, I've got something hot for you. How blessed are you to be alive today, getting after it. Very rarely do you get to discover what you're passionate about in life. I think trading is my passion. I think it's Bull Barbie's passion. It's probably all your passions, right? So now you've discovered your passion. You owe it to yourself to realize your purpose in your passion. And you got to keep pushing every single day until you become the person that you've always wanted to become, right? So you got to ask yourself over the last 5 days, have I done the things that will make me become the person that I want to be, right? The person that keeps me up at night when it's 1 a.m. and you can't sleep. You're like, man, I wish my life was like this. I wish my life was like that. maybe today you can do some of the things that will make you be that person. Okay. I'm super passionate about being alive and being excited and showing up every single day. Life is long and short at the same time. Part of being as old as I am is that you've experienced a lot of stuff. I've also suffered, as most people have as you get older, right? I've lost friends and family and things like that. And it rounds out your perspective. So show up every single day, be excited, be passionate. Yeah, if you love trading, then just love it fully and don't let it get away from you. That's what I got.
Aww. I love that. Thank you so much. Okay, Barbie, your turn.
You just want some Barbie wisdom.
Yes, just some Barbie wisdom.
Well, I think I think as traders, I kind of allude to this a lot, but we'll kind of talk about it for a few minutes. We're always kind of focused on the daily goal and getting our daily bag and all that stuff. And I like to just always think of it. I like to zoom out and think about everything big picture. So I talk to you a lot. Like I'm watching the 5-minute chart at open, but all day long, well, that's a mess. But all day long, I'm watching these daily charts and really trying to get the context for everything. And I try to take that approach to life and not just trading. I always want perspective on everything. You can stay a lot calmer and level-headed if you have that perspective. So whether it's on like trading and we're talking about time frames and charts and things, it's just always making sure that you have all of the context that you need. This is because of just the world that we live in with all of the quick little sound bites and social media clips and everything. That's what we lose out on a lot. So if you actually do take that minute to step back and get the full context, get the full perspective, it just makes everything go a lot more smoothly and easier and more calmly.
Love
Yeah,
it.
I love it too. I think for me, one of the biggest things that kind of shaped a few things for my own life was do something scary every day, something that scares you, because growth happens outside of your comfort zone. So that's my words of wisdom for today. All right, Barbie, let's take it to your educational lesson of the day.
Okay. Well, today this will kind of be. I might ask Forrest to back me up here a little bit on this one.
Sure.
So I wanted to talk about should or should we not trade the first 15 minutes. And I'm going to give you my perspective on it. And I think Forrest probably has a similar one, but he'd probably be able to add to this a little bit. So in the first 15 minutes, there's a lot going on. And so we can end up getting a lot of FOMO during the first 15 minutes. But um, it will kind of help set the tone for the day. And if you're really involved in a trade, again, you're not looking for that perspective that I was just talking about. And if you're really involved trying to scalp that first 15 minutes, you lose the perspective on kind of what's setting up. So that first 15 minutes, if it's setting the mood for what's going to happen, at least for the morning session, we can have a V-shaped reversal like we did yesterday. But if it's kind of setting the mood for that and you're worried about all of these little, where am I going to put the stop on some really violent moves when we have all of the strong volume, that's kind of tricky. And then sometimes it'll end up like today where we're just out the gate, just like not doing much. And then you can kind of be amped up and hyped and ready for this big move that we'll get other days. And then you end up in this. And again, you just end up frustrated again. I don't like to start off my day frustrated. So unless I have just like a prime setup where we're at a key level that I'm watching and the thing happens that I want to happen, a lot of time I like playing gaps a lot at the morning open. If I don't have a gap, if we don't have data, if we don't have anything that would cause price to do anything interesting, I'm definitely going to be waiting for a setup to happen and not trying to rush something, because the market's going to play and unfold what it's going to do that day, no matter what, whether I'm itching to get involved in a trade or not. That's what's going to happen. So when the first 15 minutes happens, we don't really have that structure yet. And so how am I going to know exactly where to place my stop and my take profit if I don't really have that structure to trade off of yet? So I don't know. I guess I just wanted to kind of mention, if we kind of wait and see if we're going to set up to have a really volatile open or a really slow open that's kind of setting the tone for the day, if we stop and take a breath and don't get involved with it right away, it sets up, I think it sets up a better mindset and a better trade and a better trading day also, just kind of sitting back and waiting for the market to unfold and happen. So I know you're not a big fan of the first 15 minutes too. So kind of what are your thoughts on the first 15?
So yeah, I mean, I will take a trade if I think it's racing towards one of my primary liquidity levels, right? So very rarely will I trade the open just for that reason, because there's usually some shakeout. Like we could see here, we just went to the VAL and we came back to POC. Like it's kind of balancing, and we have data at 10. Okay, so like there's two kind of narratives for data days at 10. Either there's going to be a leg into data, and then the data is going to come out and it's going to do another leg, right? It's either going to fade or continue. If you're not getting a move into data, then there's really, nothing to do other than wait till data. But in general, like today, like it really is, I have my system. And so when I think about the open, it's like, okay, how does the open play into the key areas that I'm looking for? Prior day low, prior day high, overnight low, overnight high. If in those first 15 minutes we hit like overnight low or high or prior day low or high, or more importantly, it was probably a better level for the open would be like a major liquidity level, like a naked POC. All right, let's just expand in Q here. We don't have a naked POC that's available. Let's just go to this day here, okay? So at this point in time, this previous POC, which is also lining up with the prior day low at this point, let this thing load. Come on, TradingView. Dude, what? I don't know whatever change they made to TradingView this year, but they need to change it back. It's super slow. So this point of control is naked. What do I mean by naked? It's untested, right? So on this date, Thursday, April 24th, 2025, most of the people participated at 19,262. Then the auction moved away from them. And then we can see that the auction came back. Let's imagine that this happened in the first 15 minutes of the session instead of 5 a.m., okay? That would be something that I might consider because this is a major liquidity target, and it's probably going to mean revert, like it did at however long that took, right? But in general, the open there's a huge injection of volume, and I'm fine waiting until like 10:30 to take a trade. I only need one good trade a day. Like if you think about any given day, let's say a day is 100 points. Okay, if you can try to anticipate where the high of the day or the low of the day is, you don't really even need to get both. You just need to get some intuition about one side or the other, and you capture 80% of the day. You get 80 out of the 100 points on a range. You don't need to do anything else. Like most of you guys' stats aren't going to do better than getting 80% of a day's range in one trade. I'll keep it a buck with you. You're just not. So that's why my approach to trading is just like, can I just catch, one side of the V? I had a nice day. I'm not gonna say I got lucky. I had a good performance yesterday. But you really only need one side of the V on a day like this. And over time, over hundreds of days, thousands of days of trading, your statistics in terms of money that you make is going to be way better than trying to trade the open when all the liquidity is coming into the market at once. So I just think of it as,
look at today when we have that data right after open, it kind of screws up my morning plan a little bit too.
Yeah, I always ask myself higher order questions like, what is my goal as a trader? It's to make money, and I think sometimes we lose sight of that. I think people,
we think we're supposed to place a trade every single time, right? Yeah, and it's to make money, not place a trade.
Be right, get proven right, get validation, get likes, get subs. It's like, nah, I'm trying to get, I'm trying to make money, y'all. I'm not gonna say it any other way. So ultimately, what I'm doing in the markets needs to result in income. Otherwise, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I actually have a question for you, Barbie. What do you do when price trades into your POI within the first 15 to 20 minutes after open?
So basically, as a level-to-level trader, I have my quants up right now, but I'm also watching my messy chart where I have all of my levels marked on another one, especially when I have a quant level and a manual level kind of line up together. Then that's an area that I'm really, really watching. That'll be a point of interest that I'm watching for some like some either a reversal or a continuation. And there are kind of a bunch of different things that I'll watch for, and sometimes the time of day matters. But so at the open, if I'm just watching for that play, a lot of times, so if I have a gap below and we're hitting a level above that I think is going to be resistance, then I would short and hope that we get to that gap. That would be kind of my ultimate target, but I'll look for a swing low or something on the way to that gap. Or on the other side, if we have a gap above and we've already rallied the other way, then I would be looking to trade the other way. So that's just an example of a gap trade. Or if I have an opening range that's lining up with the level, if I have strong resistance at an opening range level, then that's an idea. If this happened to be the opening range, it's not today, but if this was, if I had a 15-minute opening range lining up with a quant, then that's another level that I would look to short, even though it could possibly be an opening range breakout. You know, I'm looking for confluence between all of my levels to make them really strong. And then when we get there, I don't want to see a price candle smash through it and have a lot of really aggressive volume on a candle that smashes through. I want to see price kind of slow down, volume kind of slow down as we're entering that level. And a lot of the times, that's why the first 15, 20 minutes is really, really hard, is because we have this huge volume surge anyway. And so you can't tell if we have a relative volume surge because we're already in a relative volume surge just because it's the open.
Thank you, Barbie. And guys, as you can see, Luke is with us. He's only in the chat right now, but he loves you guys so much that he's back. So yeah, do as he says. Do as he says. We want to let's hit the like button, subscribe. If you're here with us, then be here with us 100%.
There's a good
And
question I see.
yeah,
Go ahead.
okay, cool.
I cut you off.
Well, we do have a special guest joining us very soon at 10 a.m. And then we might have something special for you guys again. And I have been reading all the comments, so I will take my time so you guys can get ready. You can go ahead, Forrest.
Yeah, so there's a question to both of us is, do we prefer to trade AM or PM session? And if you get that one win in the morning, are you done with the day or off the chart? So I'll answer first. I like, this is a fake performance metric that, you know, my community knows. I track effort, profit per effort, right? So if I can make my money in the first hour of open and I make a lot of money, I'm done. Like, I will not look at the charts. I do not care what happens for the rest of the day. I absolutely love, like, because I've been trading for years too. So it's like, I've put in the chart time already. Like, I've put in thousands of hours on the charts. So now I'm harvesting what I've sowed. Obviously, I still spend a lot of time on the charts, but it's like, if I can make my money, I'm done, you know? And there's all the other psychological, like, stuff that we know of, like, if you'll revenge trade and you'll, you know, give it all back and blah, 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 blah. But honestly, like, I just, like, psychologically, I just like the fact that, like, if I can make all my money on the day in like 7 minutes, I'm freaking out of here. Like, good luck finding me. So that's me personally.
I really like trading in the morning too. Just well, in the morning I'm freshest. So I mean, I just literally am more tired at the end of the day. I've got other things I'm taking care of too. We have kind of like a little family farm, so there's a lot of animals to feed. I'm up early, so I was up doing chores and everything before I even got to the screen. So the morning session is my favorite. So I kind of split the way I look at the market is I try to structure it so I'm looking at particular times of day. So we have the New York open and then we have the London close that are both in the morning session. And those are kind of my key time frames when I'm hoping that, well, hopefully price comes to one of my levels and I can react there when we get to that level. But every once in a while, I'll take trades outside of that time. I do have some kind of income strategies that I run with options, selling premium and things outside of that time. But if I'm going to take a manual day trade, because it's more mentally, you're using more mental capital when you're actually engaging in a manual trade and setting your stop and doing all of the things that comes with it. And I just know that I personally am freshest in the morning and perform best in the morning. So that's when I do my harder trading, which is my manual trading.
I agree. Yeah, fatigue is a real thing for sure.
Yeah.
I did get a question in the chat as well, and it says, when you're in a trade that's going against you, what thoughts go through your head and how do you control them in that pivotal moment?
When I was brand new to this, I mean, you guys will absolutely know what I'm talking about. It's just pure freak out. It's the oh shit, it's your heart rate, you start sweating, it's all of that. But I knew that I was not going to be able to make it in trading if that's how I was feeling when I was in a trade going against me. Because, and I'll tell you now, a lot of my trades will take heat, at least initially, at least a couple points initially. And so I've just kind of gotten used to that. I mean, that kind of comes with just getting those hits in over and over and over. The other thing I've noticed is I at least early on, I thought that I could take more risk than I could. So my numbers have changed over time. It's always been my goal to just grow and try to grow my everything exponentially. But there's a time there when I thought that $500, if I lose $500, not a big deal. That's not going to upset me. But then in the heat of the moment, I could find that $500 really did upset me, especially on that account size that I was trading. And so I really had to take a look at positioning and all of that, because you cannot be heated like that. Now, because I have a plan, and my plan is to wait for the market to come to these levels where I can deploy my strategies, which is like my little entry strategies, kind of the way I look at that. Because I have the plan and the system in place, I know where my stop is, so I can risk size appropriately for the accounts that I'm trading, and it makes me a lot more calm. So it's taken away a lot of that heat of the moment craziness.
Yeah, I love that. I love how something is so magnified in the moment, but then when you take some time, it's like, okay,
It's moving from doing things in theory to doing things in practice, and there's a lot of that. Like, we get kind of academic. We get stuck into
I love
studying
that.
and how everything should happen in theory, but academics is not real life. So then you go to put things into practice. And I've always said that there's kind of two skills in trading. You have to learn how to use the charts and the software and all the technical side of it. But then you also have to learn how to actually execute the trade yourself and how to handle yourself during the executions in everything that you're doing there. It's two completely different skills. You can be able to read the market and not trade, and vice versa.
Wow. Yeah. What do you have to say about that, Forrest? Anything you want to add?
I was on a little sidebar. Can you TLDR the question for me? Sorry.
That's okay. I think we're also watching, because we have data coming in now in about 30 seconds, and
Yeah,
that's
let's
the
see what this 10 a.m.
jobs
candle
number.
does.
And this is really important because the Fed really, really cares about the JOLTS number. And we've got the Fed and the president against each other right now. So if they can never agree on anything, that would be great. So this JOLTS number could hopefully start getting people on the same page. But that's a lot of hoping, right? That's a lot of hopium.
2,
okay, here we
1,
go.
And let's see if we get a reaction.
Initially down just a little bit through the VWAPs. This is not a big reaction though. No, I'm watching the dollar too. The dollar's moving lower a little bit. That's the biggest reaction we're getting, is the dollar moving lower. But that'll
DXY.
be yeah, DXY. That should be a little bit positive for the indexes here. So we'll see if they're going to bounce their VWAPs here. But this is not a strong reaction. By the way.
DXY, I don't know if it does this, but I used to do some pretty crazy trades. DXY, like 30 seconds before some big news openings, would like show you which way the market was going to go. You could just inverse DXY. But that used to work, guys. I've
noticed that the DXY has not been as reliable lately, and I think it's just the climate we're in with all the tariffs. And it's not like I completely understand all the little nuances, but I can see that once tariffs and all this nonsense started coming into play, that the dollar correlation faded and the VIX correlation strengthened. So I've been watching the VIX a lot stronger. It's just on these datas, these economic data numbers that come out, a lot of times the dollar will move first still.
Yeah. So very muted, very muted reaction to this release of data here. I mean, so at this point, like we didn't get we were in the middle of the auction, right? We're at the point of control. We're at the very middle of the auction today. We didn't get a reaction to data. So immediately I'm thinking, all right, I can just relax, sit back in my chair and wait for one of the edges of the market to hit. It's going to be choppy until the market proves otherwise, right? You know, one of the things I always say is like the market's going to do what it's been doing until it proves otherwise. And right now, with, you know, tier 1 data, we haven't moved, right? We have a little bit of reaction, but the formation of this candle isn't any faster or slower than the formation of the previous candles, which tells me that today is either going to be delayed, so we'll get a move in the afternoon, or, you know, maybe we get a very delayed reaction here in like 15 minutes. But yeah,
I
I
have
mean,
noticed that when we have these slow initial reactions, sometimes it's just developing and we end up getting a slower walk up or walk down later.
yeah,
And I've noticed
gonna be a
chat saying
patient
to
day.
watch the bonds too. The bonds are another thing that you can watch for reverse correlation.
Yeah,
Awesome.
CJ
Well,
says
oh, go
their
ahead,
4
Corey.
years of market intuition is feeling bullish structure happening. All right, CJ.
I'm
We'll see.
kind of with that one too. We've got the dollar moving lower now, the VIX moving lower now. It's not looking bad, and we're in that hourly trend moving a little bit higher, which we kind of swept the lows of that hourly channel.
Yeah, I'm
So
gonna
that is the
be. I mean,
structure.
if we crack
It's
this
very
high,
small though.
yeah, if we crack this high, I mean, obviously longing down here would be perfect if we do run higher. Personally, just with the muted reaction, I'm gonna do nothing. It's gonna be a do nothing day until we hit one of these key levels. And again, guys, like 10 and 2 are my key activation times. If there's gonna be a trade, there'll be a good one around 2. Like I just know there will. So like I'm totally fine with not making or losing money and then making all my money at 2.
The way I look at it is today's going to be a smaller day. So it's going to be a smaller trading day for me too. I have lower expectations and I'm not going to be trying to get my trade of the month right now. Because if you just look at the calendar, we have more coming. We got the earnings calendar and the data calendar both coming in heavier towards the end of the week.
Yeah, and again, just going back to the weekly, speaking of the week, again,
All
if
right,
we
guys.
crack
Well,
this,
Forrest, so sorry to interrupt. I think our guest is here, so we want to
It's Steve
welcome him.
time.
Yes, it's Steve time. We've been waiting for him, and very special guest. Welcome, Steve.
Good morning. Great to be here.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great down here in sunny Jupiter, Florida. I love it.
Wow, beautiful. I see your office. I know that you're kind of known for having all these monitors and you've been trading for 41 years. And how has it been?
It's every day I wake up, I pinch myself. It's the greatest joy outside of my children and my dog. To me, this is the greatest thing I could ever imagine myself doing in my 41 years. I have all these screens around me, not to set the Guinness Book of World Records, but because I disseminate so much information to my community, to very different types of traders from all around the world, whether it's index futures, commodity futures, stocks, ETFs, Bitcoin, whether they're trading options, Forex as well. And I disseminate all this information to very big family offices, hedge funds, and prop firms. So I'm able to see things that they can't see. And basically, I spent about 10 years of my life building my software. And it's all predicated on a methodology of combination theories. So
I was going to talk about that. Is that the mathematical calculation that you have, the 5 basic conditions?
Yeah. So
that you built?
So basically, in the research I spent in the 10 years, you really can't, and I taught this to some of the biggest hedge fund managers in the world. You can't trade basically off of one particular time frame. If you're going to trade the futures markets during the US session, you need to look at the underlying ETFs. Like, for example, this morning came in, all 3 time frames significantly bullish on the push down, nothing but buy divergences. All my strategies are based upon divergence patterns. There are 5 conditions in the market based upon my indicator, which is my proprietary indicator. There's a trend, a buy reversal, a sell reversal, a correlation, and a disconnect. Each condition has 2 two strategies of buy and sell divergence. S&P's pushing up to new highs. After the JOLTS number, we just pushed down. Beautiful pattern. They just ran about 25 just now. So basically, all the strategies are based upon divergence patterns. And this is what I teach each and every day throughout my live stream from 9 to 4. And whether you're trading a prop account, real money, or, just looking for high alpha generated ideas during the day, well, this is the place. I've been doing this for over 41 years.
Yes, I know you're known as the Oxford or Harvard teacher of world trade. So I'm a little curious if you could tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into trading.
Yeah, so this basically, when I was 16 years old, my father said, "You're coming to work with me." I said, "Does that mean I have to take a day off from school?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Okay, I'm coming to work." So he says, "All right." So he worked on the Florida American Stock Exchange, and he said, "Okay, 9 o'clock, I want you to go have some breakfast, go across the street and eat across the street on Broadway, and come over and see me at 9 o'clock. I walked in. I walked up these 32 steps or 27 steps, marble steps. My father was standing there at the top of the step waiting for me. I gave him a big hug, and then I hear "Ak Nov Dis." I said, "Dad, what's the Ak Nov Dis?" He said, "October, November, December, you idiot." I said, "Oh my God, this is going to be a tough day." Like, I know what October, November, December is, right? But anyway, so when I walked on the floor, I heard the roar of the crowd, and I just knew this was something I really wanted. Actually, to be honest with you, I loved the game of baseball. I was looking to be a baseball player. I was very talented in the sport, and I also thought about becoming a surgeon. But then, I don't know, I just couldn't stand just being in the classroom. And I thought that this was something that every single day was a different day. So I came home from college one day and I got a D in economics. I threw my books over my head against the window. My dad said, "That's it. You're getting a job on Wall Street." And I never looked back. Peter Kellogg hired me. He was one of my father's good friends from most clearing firms,
Wow.
and Kellogg. And then I worked as a member on the New York Stock Exchange. Then I went over to the COMEX, where I met one of the most interesting guys in my career, who was worth a staggering amount of money. But he taught me the word consistency. I already knew the word consistency from the game of baseball, which that's how you have to be able to survive the game. But and then I went over to the Board of Trade, and then after the Board of Trade in Chicago, I came back to New York, and a gentleman there should be a statue of this person. He actually created probably one of the first upstairs trading desks ever. It was me and two other guys who I knew from the Florida New York Stock Exchange. Our office overlooked the Hudson, so every morning I waved to the Statue of Liberty and to the Colgate clock, and we just traded his money upstairs. It was three guys in a brand new condo overlooking the Hudson, and basically that was it. And we just started trading, and I took what Steve taught me in the world of consistency, and my goal was to make $100 a day every single day for a week, and then 200 and 300. I increased it, and I made a staggering amount of money back in 1991 for this gentleman. And
Wow.
yeah, and then so basically, and I just started just upstairs, and then when the markets went to decimalization in the 2000 era, I said I could not see the depth of the market. There was lack of transparency. I said, I'm going to take a year of my life and build technology that I can see market direction. And next thing I know, it took me nearly 10 years of my life. And I work with some of the biggest hedge fund managers in the world, who I have still great friends with till this day. And it's been a great journey. Now I just want to help people along the way here each and every day to be very successful.
Thank you so much. I do have another question for you. How do you see technology shaping the future of trading?
Great question. I'm actually working with a bunch of developers now who have causal theory, quantum computing, AI, all incorporated. I'm going to be hopefully in the next 6 to 8 months incorporating all that. I think with the way the markets are going, the speed of the markets, I want to really incorporate a foundation where there's about 1 million people in the world who can actually sit in front of a screen and can trade all day long. But the majority of people really can't. They're working and they're in school or whatever. So I'm going to build software where I want people to be able to customize their own portfolio based upon the algorithms and the math that I created, where they can, pretty much pick a dollar amount, pick a short, intermediate, long-term strategy and let the system, optimize it, and obviously, take hold of the positions, tell them where to get in, where to get out, the target price, and give them more clarity and to the art of trading, where they don't have to be sitting in front of a screen. So I think there's a lot more to come. I know there's a lot of guys out there with bots and this and that, but I'm going to try to create something a little bit more different, because I've been doing this so long. I was probably one of the first people ever to come out with dynamic signals in the early 90s. I built one of the most robust P&L systems for a company called Ready. So I've always been well ahead of the curve, and I've been working with this now for the last several months, and I hope to have it completed by first quarter of 2026.
I love that. Well, we're so blessed to have you on this show, honestly, Steve.
Thank you.
I do see that you have a lot of monitors behind you. So, a question, how do you use all these monitors? And what does a typical day look like for Steve?
Typical day when I wake up every single morning, I'm serious. I do the same thing over and over again. It's like the movie Groundhog Day. I live the same day over and over again. I literally wake up, and when I come to this office every single day, I don't read the paper. I don't look at any news. The only thing I look at is the following three things: is any 8:30 or 10 o'clock numbers that are going to affect the day? Is there any corporate earnings that are going to affect the day? And then I look at my bigger time frames, and then I look at my short-term time frames to get a feel. So today, for example, no way in hell was I bearish on the opening, even though the S&Ps at one point were down 25 points at one point. The spiders are now up on the day, and we were down about 260 in the pre-market. I wouldn't even flinch. I even told my community, even with this decline, I'm still bullish on all three big time frames. No way in hell am I bearish. And we rallied about 40 points off the low there. So basically, the average user doesn't need all this. They probably need anywhere from 2 to 4 screens if they're going to sit there all day long. But mostly what I do here, I'm able to see the divergences in my community of traders, whether they're trading from their phone or they're trading from home or wherever. I'm disseminating the information and teaching the pattern and explaining why I'm looking for the short and for the long. So for example, Palantir just made a new high, and it just dropped about 80-90 cents. Nothing but sell divergences on Palantir. So a lot of people actually learn the strategies that I teach, and they actually take it upon themselves. This is really enhancing the end user, because I really got involved in this because being in the industry so long, I was just really sick and tired of so many people just buying all these damn courses and spending all this money and books and everything. And I just said, enough is enough. I really want to do something really to enhance the end user, the trader, to really be successful, to put them on the right track. And I speak to people all around the world. This morning at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm speaking to someone from Germany, then France, talking to someone from Switzerland. So it's all people from all around the world, and I really love it. And to be honest with you, and
You seem very passionate,
I love it. I mean,
and I
every
love
day
that.
is a gift. Every day
It shows, for sure. Well, Steve, I didn't get to really fully introduce you. These are our expert traders on the show, Bull Barbie and Forrest Knight.
Very nice to meet you both.
Howdy.
You too.
And
I have a question for Steve. Yeah, so you mentioned that you're trading Palantir today. What else are you looking at trading today?
Well, let's see. Apple has a great buy divergence on the opening. Actually, we had really great buy divergences right after the opening. And Meta, Palantir, Avago was a great one. I look at the same names every single day. Had a great.
Yeah, I like the Mag 7 a lot. Are you watching the Mag 7?
Always. There's Amazon had a great. So basically, right now you have Apple and Microsoft making new highs. Palantir made a new high, just dropped about $1.30. S&P's made a new high. Nothing but sell divergences there. Just dropped about 10. We look at a lot of index futures a lot. Very big into gold. A lot of people really trading gold a lot, especially with the craziness above, when gold went from 2,800 to 3,500. Again, look at the same names every single day. Lily's going to report this week. Lily's up about 7. Really great pattern off the 30-minute time frame yesterday. But for today, right now, I think we're going to be in a range. I'm not bearish. I'm bullish because of the indicators that tell me that. But even in bullish trend, you can have sell divergences like I just had on
Sure.
the S&P and on Palantir.
We were talking about that a little bit earlier, where you can have sells inside of a larger buy, and
Absolutely.
both can be traded.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
People say to me all the time, the 5 conditions, I tell them, if you can master divergences, you've mastered the art of trading. And it's all my strategies are based upon. So if you can master these patterns, like yesterday, for example, oh my God, Netflix. Just turn my back to it. Netflix just hit 14 and just dropped 7. So this morning we had great buy divergences on Netflix below 98, 1,098. And getting ready for the show and everything, it just traded up to 14. I actually told the big fund that Netflix is anywhere above the 1,010, 1,015 area, I would be looking to short it, and it just dropped about $7, $8 just now. Again, you're 100% correct. In any type of condition, there's always going to be a buy and a sell divergence. Even, for example, yesterday when we sold down to the lows at 54.92 on the S&P, I said to my community, I wouldn't be short with your money. I had a monster buy divergence off the 60-minute time frame. Now, did I think we were going to run 70 points on the S&P? No, I thought definitely 30 to 35, and we ran 70. So there's always going to be a buy or a sell divergence in any condition of the 5 that I identified.
So if we're really choppy like today, you're probably just looking for the shorter term trades and kind of holding off on the longer term stuff.
Singles and doubles.
Like the rest of it.
But on the bigger time frame right now, I'm not so I think the lows are in. I got a really big buy reversal on my weekly chart Friday. So I think ultimately we're going to be in a range from 5,100 to 5,700 here. I think it's going to be back and forth right now. The daily right now is giving me a sell. So the higher we go, maybe 5,600, I think we're ultimately going to push down here. There's a monster, major, significant sell pattern on the weekly charts on the SPY here that I'm not so crazy about here at all, which gives me the understanding that I think we're going to be in this range. We could pull.
Yeah, so the mixed signals give you kind of the idea that we're going to range. Yeah,
right now I'm definitely telling you, after that buy reversal on the weekly, I was jumping up and down like a baboon, and I said, everybody, if they break 4,900, I would just back up the truck. There was no way, based upon my work. We were 600 points from the price to the 10-bar moving average, deeply way oversold. You're not breaking that 4,800 level, which was the breakout level from about 2.5 years ago. And I just said, I would just back up the truck for a rally. We rallied about 600 points on the S&P. Now I think we're range bound here, 51 to 5,700. But there's going to be great opportunities, long and or short. So
yeah, these ranges are so nice and large. That's what I've noticed, is we've had a lot of opportunities inside of these ranges.
Steve, I wanted to ask you just.
People, a lot of people, like to go for singles and doubles. I mean, Palantir just dropped $1.50 here. Apple just dropped over 90 cents just now. So there's S&P's just dropped about 10. If you could capture, if you're a futures trader, if you capture anywhere between 10 to 20 points on the S&P, which in this market with the volatility really shouldn't even be an issue if you wait for the right patterns. So again, it's really predicated on also looking at the bigger time frame. Like, for example, Netflix right now is over 130 points, I believe, from its 10-bar moving average. MSTR is like 45. These are astronomical numbers, and the standard deviations are nowhere near where they should be trading right now. So I think a pullback is warranted here.
Steve, I wanted to ask you, so you have a ton of experience, and I think I'm always looking for shortcuts, right? I'm a little bit behind you on the same journey. What was like your biggest snafu as a trader? Like, what was your biggest mistake? Or it could be a loss, but even just a mistake. And then, like, what are you most proud of in your trading career?
My biggest, I'll start with the negative first. My worst thing that I still wake up sometimes like, is the time when AOL was added to the S&P 500. I was going to buy 40,000 shares of it. At the last one I did, and it gapped up 90 points. And that just completely, till this day, I will never forget that trade. I had so many positions on, and I remember I heard, 10 million to buy, then it went to 4 million for sale, I believe. And then next thing I know, there was like 50 million to buy, and the stock gapped up, and I didn't take advantage of that. I was in other things that I did well that day. S&Ps are breaking here. And then, so basically it was all predicated on understanding that that was something that, you know, a trade I'll never forget. But what I'm most proud of is the discipline aspect of this. And I try to teach people that if you're driving a car, whether you're going from point A to point B, you apply a brake, right? And I think a lot of traders think they're bigger than the market. And I'm not a psychologist by any means, but what I try to do is help people understand that there are rules to this game, that this is the major leagues, and that you really need to apply the rules. Whether you're trading a stock, an ETF, an index future, you name it, it doesn't make a difference, right? So again, you have to be prudent. You have preservation of capital. If you're short, you have to put your stops in, put your bids in. If you're trading the market and you're wrong, you're out. There's always another trade. So I have a lot of things that I teach so many people from all around the world. But the biggest thing that I'm very proud of is lasting 41 years in this industry, working with some of the best individuals, most profitable traders in the world, and also being consistent and being disciplined. Also, I like to say that I like to give back and help a lot of people. And I think that's something I love to do now at this stage of my life.
Steve,
Did I hear you
where
have a
can
book
we-
out, or is it out, or is it coming out?
In the process of talking to someone about writing a book. So that's something I hope to do in the near term.
Would that be about kind of your legacy and how you became a trader? Or?
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty, you know, from my journey from when I was 16 all the way. It's you know, it's going to be pretty good, pretty detailed of my experience in my 41 years. I'm excited about it. Just finding the right person to do it with, and so I'm hopefully that you know, I get that done hopefully in the next 6 to 8 months as well.
Awesome. Well, Steve, where can we find you? What's your social media? Where can we find you in your community?
So my website is sktrading.live, and we have you know, I have a live stream every day from 9 to 4, a member Discord, and I have my own technology, which is, I think right now in over 100 countries around the world, people actually see the software. I stand in front of my telestrator and all my and I bring up the examples of the divergences and teaching the strategies, whether you're trading index futures or, like I said, ETF stocks or commodity futures, Bitcoin, doesn't make a difference. And my social media is at official X on and also on Instagram and on Twitter. And I just want to say, for those, I don't DM. So a lot of people, I've been hacked so much this week, I can't tell you. It's just, please don't think I'm replying to a DM. So, but overall, those are my social media. And I also have a podcast every single day at 6 p.m., The Bull, the Bear, and the Ugly. It's on my YouTube channel. And I do about 30 minutes. I go over all the examples and strategies of the day. And then I go into segment 2 of what I expect to happen the following day, and then a life story that I share at the end. So love it. Every single day is a gift, and I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you so much, Steve.
Thank you very much. Nice meeting you.
Thank you, Steve.
It was so nice to have you. Yeah.
It was great meeting you.
It's okay. Have a great day, everybody.
Have a great
You
day.
too.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed Steve and all of his knowledge and the wonderful questions that Barbie and Forrest asked. I see that the views are going up. I just see we just hit 1K. So I believe we have something special. I believe we have something special for you guys. We are going to be doing 100 resets. We're going to slow down before we give the code. We'll give you guys 5 seconds to go to your computer, have time. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the code is, it's on the screen, JOLTS 100. Ta-da!
JOLTS 100 for free resets. Alrighty. This one's resets,
Amazing.
right?
Yeah, it's free resets. 100 free resets.
I saw somebody asking if it was accounts. This one's resets.
Awesome. Well, Barbie and Forrest, any final thoughts?
I think that, you know, some days we want to hit the button so bad, we're itching to hit the button and we see the charts moving, but especially on days like today when it's really choppy, you have to be extra patient and wait for the levels or the edges or whatever it is that you're trading for your system and your setup. And patience is more valuable on chop days than any other day. So
Yeah.
Stay
I
patient,
mean,
guys.
be patient. I mean, just wait for your levels or whatever your execution model is, right? Wait for that to hit. Trading is like poker, except there's no blinds. Okay, you get to choose when to play. So don't go and chip away at your chips. Just be patient. Wait till you get the pocket aces, and then, you know, play the hand.
Wise words, Forrest. Thank you guys so much for being here with us, always. Well, I guess we have come to the end of today's market journey. Whether you're feeling bullish, bearish, or just simply building your playbook, remember, knowledge is your most valuable asset. Until next time, my name is Edona, and this is My Funded Future. Trade smart, but live well. Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed day.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye, guys.
I'm out of here. ASAP.